Hey, it's me, Puppet DM, and I'm here to tell you all about the sponsors we have here at the Wandering Society. We're sponsored here by Mage Hand Press, makers of a bunch of 5th edition supplements, like the Book of Kobold or their series of new classes. And don't forget, Arcmada, the amazing sci-fi fantasy campaign setting for the world's greatest role-playing game. Be sure to check them out at store.mageandpress.com. Up next, we have Roll20. It's the platform we use here at the Wandering Society to play all of our games. It's easy to use, intuitive, and it now comes with dark mode. Be sure to check them out at roll20.net. We're also sponsored by R. Talsorian Games. R. Talsorian Games make great RPGs, and they've been doing so since the early 90s. Check their books. They've got Cyberpunk Red, which Simon tells me has been played here extensively, Castle Falkenstein, which also has been played here, and The Witcher, which has also been... Okay, we get it! Check them out at your FLGS or online at rtalsoriangames.com. Have you ever wanted to wake up and smell the coffee? Well, now you can with this next sponsor, Found Familiar. Get yourself some damn good coffee at foundfamiliar.com and use the code on the screen to get 15% off. What do you mean I can't drink coffee? What the fuck is felt? And we couldn't end this segment without talking about our good friends at Die Hard Dice. That's right. As a Dice affiliate, we are proud to partner with Die Hard Dice to bring you only the best in shiny click-clacks. Click-clacks? What is... Ow. You can check their ever-growing collection over at dieharddice.com and use the link below to get 15% off. You're putting this all on me? I better get a cut.
Hello everyone, it is Saturday. I am super blurry, I don't know why, but welcome to episode 65 of our Scion campaign. We are still in the underworld, and things are still going bad for everyone. But before we get into that, I will let my players introduce themselves, tell us who you are, who you're playing, and then we're going to get going. We'll start with someone who wasn't there for a couple of weeks. Welcome back, Renee. Oh, pointing the wrong way. Welcome back, Renee.
Hi, I'm back. Thanks so much for having me again. It's been a long time, but I am mostly recovered from surgery and really thrilled to be here today. I will be playing, as usual, Morning, daughter of the Morrigan, who is in the underworld, just a different underworld than the rest of these lovely folks. So we'll see how that goes.
You won't have to deal with some weird neighbors in your apartment next door, but I'll let them tell you what that means.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Hannah.
I'm Hannah, she, her, and in this campaign I am playing Kieran Kearney. I almost forgot my own name. Kieran Kearney, son of Loki, he, him.
And on the bottom row of the overlay, Lynn.
Hey everyone, I'm Lynn, she, they, and today I am playing Dihiga, daughter of Anari, she, her.
And last but not least, Hawkeye. Woof.
Alrighty, I'm Hawkeye, Kentucky Hawkeye. I am going to be playing Finbar Odubda. He is a literature professor and, more importantly, son of Ogma out of the Celtic pantheon.
And I'm Simon at Wandering DM. I use he, him pronouns, and I am going to be the fates for this game. Players. Or I should say, Finbar, D, and Kieran. Could you remind me where we were and what happened last time?
Well, if memory serves me correctly, we had just finished up hooking up our Rube Goldberg computer device when we were in, what's the name of that city that we
Nexus.
were in the other ground? In Nexus. We were able to find out what was going on. I was able to make contact with my daughter Nama and find out all that's happening out there. Got some good information unexpectedly. My on again, off again nemesis actually did some good research for us to find out some good information for us. We were able to get away from these big-faced police force that were chasing us down by getting out of the hallway, sliding down an elevator shaft, and then finding our way to getting ourselves onto a boat somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We've rowed our way to an island that the current was kind of pushing us to, and had to deal with this Valkyrie-like character who didn't want to let us in, but we were able to convince him that we were porting a dead soul, which kind of technically Kieran is, at least what's remains of Miro's soul and life essence and all that, and let us in. And turns out we are in what appears to be the Norse version of hell. And we met up with some people there. We got a rest in one of the shacks, came out to find them totally massacred, then them coming slowly back to life amongst us. We got out of there and started going up this trail up the mountain. And now we find ourselves looking at some rather foreboding gates leading to a castle here in the middle of a literally hellish nowhere. And I believe that's where we left off. And we've also had some voice that I can't remember if I was talking to, if it was just Kieran hearing it, or if it was all of us making comments about her heritage and us coming and stuff like that. I can't remember if that was just her or if we all heard that voice.
I do believe that it was everyone. Where's my notes?
Yeah.
You were in hell, in one of the village where everything is boring, where things tend to lose color.
Lose color, yeah.
And joy, period. Tend to lose also all sorts of emotions whatsoever. You did speak with one of the latest arrival who seemed to still have like one or two emotions left before they just remain like became part of Helheim. You've also learned that it has been a month since you had left Earth. That was before, you know, teleporting an apartment building into the water. The people in Helheim, let's call them the Revenants, they told you about the castle atop the mountain. I'll remind all of you that after crossing the bridge, beyond the Valkyrie, the protector of oh no, name. 2 seconds. She was gone. Well, I'll find the name again. But essentially the Jotun responsible for guarding the gates behind her. I think it was Brunhilde.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was
Something like that.
You crossed the bridge. Oh no, no, it was Modgud. Good. I think. How it's pronounced. But anyway, you crossed the bridge of Gaelbrur, entered the forest where trees would grow leaves of steel. Made your way through. I believe there was something about children in the shadows. Was that? Wait. Remind me, players. Was that the case? Or am I saying things that I shouldn't be saying?
Don't remember it.
I also don't remember.
So we're just gonna park that for maybe sometime later. I never said anything like that. You crossed the forest.
Rewind.
Got to the village. Yeah. Got to that little village, that nameless village, and while you were crossing the bridge, you noticed that past the forest was this peak with a castle on top of it. And beyond that peak was like a smaller mountain. Everything else seems to be covered by just wilderness. And after speaking with the people in the village, you decided to ascend the peak, basically climb the very steep and narrow staircase up to that castle. Its temperatures were dropping, and a voice was heard by everyone, booming over the storm. Welcoming / threatening Kieran, perhaps?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're going to pick back up.
Could I ask really fast what our momentum is at? I'm sure my count is like wildly off at this point.
1.
Great.
You're at 1.
Cool.
Everything has been used for survival.
No, I get it. I totally understand. I just have been gone for weeks and want my count to be correct.
Yeah. So the Loki. D. Kieran, not Loki yet. D. Kieran and Finbar, you have now reached the top of those stairs. You're facing a rime-covered iron portcullis that currently stands closed. The walls are smooth around, but they seem to be peppered with spikes or stakes on top of them. And the voice once again booms out, asking, "What is your purpose? Why have you come to my door? Is anyone answering?
Yeah, I think the honestly, we just want to go back to where we came. I don't think we're supposed to be here, and we don't want to be here.
You are indeed not supposed to be here. Where do you want to go, and why? You don't belong either in this realm or many others.
We seek to return to the world of the living so we can complete the task that we were trying to accomplish.
The living. It has been a while. And as the voice says that, the portcullis begins to open. Come. Enter my home. Be my guest. And if you behave, I might help you out of here.
Okay.
Portcullis opens. There's a courtyard of it's basically just packed snow and ice beyond the walls, and past this courtyard you have a frozen staircase, all made of stone and iron, that leads to just a set of heavy, again, like steel doors. One of them just opens slightly, like halfway. From the opening, you see these pale blue-like flames, well, bluish flames, just pop out like they were spat out of something inside the castle.
I suppose she's lighting the path. He or she.
Sure.
I mean, door's open.
Yep.
All right, I'll start leading the way.
You make your way into the castle, and as your little procession enters one by one, I'm gonna pan the camera back up to this gray sky, just covered, overcast. And we're gonna pan back down to a different part of the underworld. We find ourselves back in a mead hall. There's a lot of familiar figures in there. Ghoulish, dead, lost souls, and one mourning. Just to recap what happened last time, right? The last thing you remember mourning was falling off of the giant tree after the 4 of you fought the Calican Saros. I should say 5 of you fought the Calican Saros. You fell down and you awoke near this, longhouse kind of thing. You were taken inside and learned that the ragtag group of people here, be it warriors or civilians, all dead. You met, in fact, one of them that you recognize as the ghost of what's his face?
Angus?
Boru, the ghost of Angus, but also Boru the Celt, was in here. And if I remember correctly, so was Boudica.
Boudica was, yeah. She's pretty mad that I haven't gotten her
Mm-hmm.
a second chance yet.
And this entire group managed to, in a way, send out a message or open a mean of communication through which you learned from Winnie that you have been gone for a while and that things are getting dire up on Earth. We're talking earthquakes, giant storms, catastrophe and calamities that just follow in the wake of each other. The dead there told you that they were mounting a sort of rebellion. And so we're picking up here as Boru, Angus, and Boudica basically keep you, sort of appraise you of the situation, how you are not in the goalish, yeah, or goal underworld. Anyway, you're not where the Nimiton Devos should be. They have lost their home, lost their underworld, and lost, well, in fact, I should rephrase. Two of them belong in the Irish Pantheon, not Boudica. But even the island, the garden, also disappeared. And you and them have, well, them more than you, because they're going to ask you that question, but they basically smuggled themselves into a different underworld. But it's doing a number on them. They say that the farther out they go from the house, the more these the people here, these souls that are here, lose all color and will to exist. And so they're stuck here in this little house, and they're fairly certain that it is because the land itself is waging war against them, a war of attrition, which the land will most definitely win. And Angus will ask the question, but if you were able to come here, it means there's a way to get out, isn't there?
Certainly. It's just a matter of finding it. Especially in an underworld I am unfamiliar with and that seems to rebel against you all. What of my father?
The three of them look at each other. We don't know. You remember the long boats that were on the shore? The ones that your friend froze.
Yes.
Some of them were still usable. We just rowed our way out. More than one ship left the garden. We just don't know where the others went.
He was on one, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did anything happen to you on your journey, like a storm or a sense of falling, anything that you remember that led you to here?
current?
What?
Boudica steps forward and says, they were like waves pushing the boat in one direction. But we couldn't row against them. And it led us to this place. There's a... and she points to like the back of this longhouse. Says the beach is a ways over there. We lost a lot of people. Coming here, we found this place in ruins. We just patched it however we could. I don't know if the ship is still there. You don't intend to use it to flee, do you?
Flee? Me?
Well, you did fail to uphold your end of a bargain before.
Boudica, I need you to understand that time is different. I was gone for days in my world. And right now, in just the time that I've been here, my world is falling apart. You will have nothing to go back to. Unless we figure this out. I understand you want to go back. I do as well.
She turns to the other two, and Boru is the one who'll speak next, and with Angus basically just agreeing with him and as he speaks. Boru says, "My Lady Boudica, Morning is right. That the time they move differently in different worlds. You step into a circle, you get to another world, and you might spend years, decades, days, sometimes even go back in time. These things are real. These things are rare, but they are real. I am fairly certain my brother-in-law stepped through one once. He came back 3 weeks later. His hair hadn't gotten any longer, his beard, his mustache hadn't grown. He thought he'd been gone for an hour. It had been 3 weeks. And like, Boudica looks at them, back at you, back at them. She'll just suck on her teeth. And then go, then if the time is different, what guarantee do we have that it's not already been destroyed?
None.
All the more reasons then for us to find some place we can stay, some place that is not antagonistic towards us.
I can promise you one thing at this point, and that is the truth as I know it. There's still so many things that I need to figure out here. I barely had the chance to get my bearings there, and this is new again. Can you take me without risking harm to yourself as far out as you can? Or at least direct me.
Think we can, but it's not going to be that far.
That's all right. I just need to understand the limits.
She turns to the assembled crowd and goes, The godling here needs someone to accompany her outside to see how she fares against the will of this place. Who is brave enough among you to go? And then she'll just whisper to you, Morning, that it's preferable for a non-combatant to accompany you, since we need all the warriors we can get should this place decide to turn aggressive.
I understand. I can protect whoever accompanies me. If this is an impossible ask, I can simply walk out on my own.
Well, there's a murmur that moves basically across the crowd, and someone steps forward. I'll do it. I'll do it. And it's an older man, basically bent in half by the weight of ages. Even though technically he's dead, he doesn't have to care anymore. But he says, I've lived all my life. Then I died, and I've lived 1,000 lives. I didn't think it would be possible, but I am tired. And if this place has to take anyone, I would rather it takes me. Boudica turns to you. Morning, is that acceptable?
What is your name?
Kerm. Lady Kerm.
Kerm. I respect your opinion, but I will do everything in my power not to let that happen. If you sense any risk to yourself, you are to stop and direct me forward. I will nod to Boudica, and Morning's got like shoulders back, really trying to hold together appearances of divinity and competence. But she is in one of her just like normal dresses, sword strapped to her back, and makes her way to the door.
The old man follows. Oddly enough, despite, if he were alive, you would, he would move at a certain pace. And despite being bent in half, he is thin. He is very, very thin, basically just skin and bones. And still, he walks, maybe not your pace, but like the same pace as a healthy adult would.
Sure.
In turn, just look back at everyone gathered. It was nice knowing all of you. Let's go. You open the door to the longhouse. Outside is an overcast gray sky. There is a bit of a clearing around the longhouse. Trees were cut with great effort, judging by the amount of axe heads that you find lying about, either on stumps or on the ground. Farther out than that, you have these blackened trees with silvery, yeah, kind of a shiny gray hue to them. They just extend for a while, and you can barely see in the distance what appears to be twin mountains.
Is this your group of souls?
Cutting the trees?
Did you build this house when you arrived?
Fixed it. They fixed it. I am way too old to hold an axe anymore.
Mm. Which way?
Oh, which way do you want to go? We came from the beach. Here, it was about a day's walk.
Were you attacked along the way?
Like Queen Boudica said, the land itself, it just eats at you. Makes you forget, makes you want to just lie down. Sleep. That tree
Are the
line over
mountains, Simon, are the mountains the opposite direction from the beach?
opposite direction from the beach, yeah.
Okay, I think that will be kind of the landmark that Morning uses to go a little bit further in then. I feel like going to the beach could help me a little bit further down the line, but right now I'm trying to get a sense of this place, not what is out there where other places may be.
When you make your way up to the tree line, Firm will just stop for a moment and says, "This point here, there used to be trees." He points to the stumps behind them. "Until we cut them, this was the farther that any one of us managed to reach." I think the trees are doing it. And now that you're closer to them, you notice the trees are just, it's like a blackened bark with steel leaves.
Huh. Cool.
There's no wind, so they don't move.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, yeah, they're not thick pieces of steel, but like thick enough that you could make an armor out of it. It should be workable. You, by the way, have not felt any different since you got here, either from inside or outside. I mean, they don't really know how to explain it, but
Sure. I would want to know then if this is as far as they have made it out, like is Kerm, do you feel any different here?
Mm-mm. Then again, the trees, and he points to the stumps again in back of you, they're cut now. Let me see. And he's going to walk forward like a step.
I hand on my sword the second he continues on his own.
He's about like 10-ish feet from you and goes, "Huh. I don't feel anything." Weird.
You have before
morning.
felt different?
Oh, sorry.
You have felt different before? This is different.
Yeah, we normally it feels like we really want to go to sleep.
Does he seem tired at all? Like is he bullshitting me right now?
No, he's
Okay. No,
well,
like
I mean, he's let's say like he doesn't look any more tired than he was inside the longhouse, right?
Sure. Okay, I will follow.
Walk forward up to where he is. There's nothing.
The trees are not moving.
Nope.
Okay.
He walks again a bit farther out. And I'm gonna have to ask you, Morning, what's your how many points of legend do you have?
On me currently, I have 7.
Lynn, Hannah, and Hawkeye, did we move up to 8 last time? How many points of legends are you at? Is it still 7?
I think it should be still
Max-
7. I think we
Max is still 7. Yes.
Seven.
still 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just
Okay.
got 2 points like refilled. I think is what we got last.
Yeah.
So he's going to bid you to wait a moment. He's gonna walk those like 10 feet again. And he's gonna walk farther out. And basically the moment he gets to like 15 feet, 2 feet per point of legend, you can see like the weight of like a burden just land on his shoulders. And he just goes, whoof, takes like a few laborious steps back towards you, and then the moment he gets closer, the full weight isn't gone, but most of it leaves. Still, like, damage has been done still, but he goes, you're like a good luck charm. Well,
I am just the daughter of a goddess.
what?
Oh. Oh, was that not like a known?
I thought
Thing?
you were dead,
Dead?
like us.
No.
Should I prostrate myself?
Oh, no. 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 I'm just here to try and figure out what is going on here. What is going on Earth, and how to fix it all.
What's
I think-
Earth?
Interesting. Walk with me, Kerm. Tell me about your life. And I will keep pace with him at this point as we kind of like chat and move
We're gonna
further
pan the camera
out.
up as he is going to start talking to you about his lifelong project back on Earth. He managed to convince a bunch of his fellow, let's call them villagers, though he would probably use a word that neither Simon nor any one of us probably on Earth is knows exactly what, but essentially he convinced a bunch of villagers to build or start building a sort of communal living quarter arrangement thing. He had everyone because he found a way to move stone, which is something that is almost impossible. Normally you just build your home, you know, wherever you find something solid. But he found a way to use branches like logs to roll stones uphill. And he's building this entire like big circular thing out of miniatures. And he's essentially the guy who started Stonehenge.
Okay.
So he's like from, 10,000 BC.
Right. Yeah, I'll explain to him that like Earth is where we call it the place of the living. That it is much larger, likely than he ever realized. um,
He says that, back when he was alive, you would need to walk for almost like 4 days before you hit the water, and then there was nothing.
oh no, there's much beyond the water.
How many days?
You can fly in the air now and travel over the water in half a day, a couple of hours.
If he was still alive, he'd probably have a heart attack.
Oh, but he's not.
No. And as you tell this story, the camera back down from the grayish sky as Kieran D and Finbar have entered a darkened castle, poorly illuminated by these candelabras and torches that all have this pale bluish flame. The voice now doesn't boom like thunder, but it echoes across the hall and says, "Excuse me for the mess." And yeah, most of the furniture here is broken, rotten, more like broken through violence than anything. The Great Hall is beyond where you are. Just keep walking straight. Do not stray. Be good guests. And it's very, very dark.
As we walk around, can we see anything on the walls, like carvings or runes or any kind of decorative illustration or anything like that?
In certain places, there are these tattered remnants of great tapestries. They don't depict an image, but they do have like runic writing on it, like Futhark writing on it, but it's just torn. If has any one of you here players played the Banner Saga? So in the Banner Saga, you have throughout the game basically someone sewing this big tapestry with all the deeds that you have. It's kind of that, like one. It looks like it should have been one contiguous tapestry, but it's just been torn, ripped. It's missing letters a bit everywhere.
Is there enough there that I can make out what story is being told?
Yeah, because you have your.
Because I have my
Bard phone.
translator.
Yeah.
The Bard phone.
It's the history of the world. As in, when Odin started all of this, right? When the gates between the 9 realms opened, and how everything evolved into what it is now. It's missing a lot of parts that refer to, I'm gonna use the word being because you can't even know if they were gods or giants or whatever, but it's like, it seems like someone was trying to censor those banners, or maybe someone out of like anger tore these names out. And eventually You get to a point where the banner ends. The tapestry just ends there. It's just frayed little pieces of thread. The last word before everything is like everything ends is Heimdall, if I remember correctly. Guy at the bridge. Yeah, Heimdall.
Yeah, Heimdall. So no mention of Ragnarok, no mention of the gateway or the net or anything like that, or anything that would be implied for that.
Well, yeah, I guess you would know your mythology anyway. It ends at the moment where Loki at the moment where Ragnarok is about to begin. I want to make sure that I don't say something wrong. But because I remember about Heimdall is the only one that's going to survive. And you know, the world will come back, blah blah blah, after an ice age. I think it ends with. I said Heimdall, but it's not Heimdall. It's Balder.
Oh, okay.
If I
Interesting.
remember correctly.
Thor's brother.
Yeah, but he's the guy that got killed by a
Loki,
spear, right?
with
Yeah,
the
by Loki.
mistletoe.
Yeah, the mistletoe spear. Sorry, I thought it was Heimdall for some reason. No, it's him because he's the first sign that Ragnarok is coming, and that's where the tapestry ends. Of course, herein, for some reason, you can read these runes.
Of course I can.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's your native tongue. I'm glad you can understand it.
By the time you reach that end of the banner, by the way, you've passed many doorways that would lead like further out into the castle. But at the end of the banner, there's a couple more feet, 2 steps, and then again a pair of heavy doors. This time they're made of blackened wood, kind of the same that you saw in the forest, though a bit paler in hue. They're closed, by the way. The big iron rings form what would be the handles. And
Doors, you say?
Huh?
Doors, you say?
Yeah, a pair of heavy wooden doors.
Well, doors are meant to be open.
People have said that.
Shall we?
I presume this is the way we need to go, so
Yep,
yes.
Through is forward, right? Or the only way forward is through? Either. It's just the same thing as a pair of goddamn doors. Let's open them.
You pull open the doors, and beyond it is something vastly different than the destruction that you saw coming in.
Is it fun for a change?
Huh?
Is it fun for a change?
Oh, it's a banquet hall.
Oh, that is fun.
The table is laden with food. There's light, mind you, it's still that like bluish sort of light, but there's more of it, enough that it definitely seems a little more inviting than the rest of the castle. There's still destroyed furniture, but it's been shoved to one side of the room, almost making like a sort of barricade up against the wall. And the voice speaks again. I will be but a minute, mortals. Make yourselves at home. Be good guests. Partake of the food. It won't kill you.
Sure.
You sit at the table.
Yeah.
It's a very nice banquet. Very, very, let's call it medieval in a way. Older. There's none of that, like, modern food or modern dishes in there. It's what you would... what any of you in the modern world would imagine, like, in media, what would be depicted as like a Viking banquet, like kind of like in the 13th Warrior, for instance.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily accurate, but it seems to answer to this common held belief in 20-something Earth. This is what they ate.
Kind of like it's standard dinner at medieval times, then.
Yeah, kind of. Even though most of this is probably not what Vikings ate,
Right.
it's still... it's supposed to look the part, and it smells very nice. It is the only thing so far, as you have... for the time that you've spent in Hell, it is the only thing that has any smell whatsoever. By the way, at the end of that hall, banquet hall, there's like one, let's call it a lavish chair at the end of the table. Beyond it, on a low dais, is a throne made of bones. And from that throne, if you stay on the dais, there's basically a little staircase that goes up on each side and then goes all the way up into the darkness of the room, probably leading to other rooms. You're going to have to wait for a little while, so if there's anything that you want to do before I move the clock forward, the floor is yours.
I think on the friend text chat, specifically to like I think DW Finbar, before we eat, is there, I'm not entirely familiar with Norse mythology. Is there anything about enchanted or like food or anything like that? Cautionary tale of that sort. She's like holding up a piece.
Finbar will respond about what happened to Persephone when she ate 6 pomegranate seeds when she was in hell. Or was it Persephone, or who was it?
That was
Hey,
Norse, was it?
Huh?
No, but in the Greek mythology, where the person that Hades...
It was Persephone that ate the.
It was Persephone that ate the seeds and all that, and supposedly wasn't allowed to leave because she'd eaten there.
Oh.
And he'll also say that was Greek, not Norse, so I don't know if the same rules apply, but I'm going to be pretty cautious.
That's a good point.
All right.
Not to be disingenuous to the host, but previous precedent warns me otherwise.
Better safe than sorry. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but he's going to maybe take some of the food, put it on a plate in front of them, and test it out to see, is this real? Is this an illusion? Or basically, how real is this that what we're seeing?
You can touch the food. We are not in the 19-something movie Hook with Robin Williams. It's real food. You can touch it. It has the same texture as you are used to. It's a little dry, not gonna lie. It's still warm, but nothing's hot.
Okay.
It would be like a solid 3 out of 5 at
Okay.
like a restaurant or something.
Mm-hmm.
You take a bite of, let's say, a chicken leg. It tastes like chicken.
He doesn't take it. I'm not taking any bites yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No problem.
Hungry, not that hungry quite yet.
Yeah, I want to make sure it's safe to eat in the long run. Like I said, my knowledge is on this kind of stuff is Greek, not Norse, so it may or may not apply. And he'll emphasize that and I'll emphasize that in my reply to D.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everything since we've gone in has been bad. There's no reason why this food shouldn't also be bad in some way.
Yep. It may be the best thing for us, but I want to make sure first.
Yeah, no, that is entirely safe choice. Yeah, valid choice. Yeah.
Don't risk your firsthood on like slightly dry turkey.
Yeah.
What about the other two?
Mm-mm.
Once Finbar points that out, I don't think we're eating anything either.
Just gonna say.
The voice after a few minutes, now instead of echoing from like somewhere, right, it seems to come from atop one of those stairs to the basically what would be to the right of the throne, and it says, "You're not eating. That isn't good guest behavior."
We've been through a lot. It's not.
I assure you, nothing's been poisoned. And as the voice says that, you now hear it come from just above, and hear the sound of heels coming down the stairs. As the figure crosses the darkness into the light, you see her. A woman dressed in, at this moment, this like fur-lined cape. She's got what appears to be an intricate breastplate and this let's call it half battle skirt, half loincloth, question mark. Definitely something that seems rather primitive, but would be well, if you think that, you know, this thing is thousands of years old, it would probably be like quality, whatever that is. Her arms are covered, not entirely, but in multiple places with either armlets, bracelets, bracers. And with each second step that she takes, for a brief moment, her skin just disappears. And what you see is this bluish skeleton with translucent muscle and black and veined. She doesn't have any eyes, no hair. The clothes remain, though. The clothes remain. And, you know, she would take another step, the skin would come back. Take another one, it would disappear. Take another one, it would come back. By the time she reaches the ground, she's in human guise, or at least flesh guise. Apologies for my tardiness, guests. I haven't received anyone in literal ages. I didn't know what to wear. I am Hell, Queen of the Dead, and you are not my subjects. I would smite you and that twat guarding the bridge for letting you in, but I sense in you that there would be consequences to this. And her gaze lingers on Kieran when she says consequences. So if you agree to play nice, I will play nice. She sits down and just points to like a goblet on the table that's empty. It floats to a little cask, fills itself up, and comes back into her hand. She sips it. See? Not poisoned.
We believe you. We believe you. It's no offense to you. It's just that we have, I just had a full-bodied meal before coming here, so I'm completely. I can't have another thing. I'm sorry. No offense.
Let's say none taken. What brings you to my part of the underworld?
A boat.
Don't get smart with me, son
I
of
assure you,
Loki.
getting smart has never been my intent.
Has never been within your capabilities either.
We were in combat with some beings in the world of the living, and the consequences of that battle appears to have caused us to fall into the underworld. And in our travels to try to find a way back home, those travels have led us here.
By boat, I take it.
By foot, by boat, whatever forms of transportation we've been able to accomplish.
And you want to leave my realm because my hospitality is somehow inadequate, I guess.
Yeah, we just want to go home.
Inadequate is not the word I would use. I would use more in the fact of your hospitality is great, and I'm sure this world is fine. It is not the world. It's not our world, and it's not the world that we belong in. And we need to return so we can help protect those that we care about and help protect and try to repair what's going on in the world of the living as we speak.
I mean, you say you don't belong here, but from a certain point of view, you do. But that's neither here nor there. I do not need to explain how the universe works to the three of you. Or should I say to the four of you? He looks at Kieran. I can let you go, but I cannot interfere in the rules of Helheim. Those were dictated much before my time. Long before my time. What the fuck, much before? They're immutable.
And if I may ask, what might those rules be?
Souls do not leave Helheim. You want to leave, you will need to leave one of you behind.
We're not dead, so why do you need one of our souls?
Three of you are not dead.
What does that mean?
I believe our hostess is referring to Miro.
What the hell?
I mean, sure.
Do we have like an invisible Miro following us?
In a sense, yeah. And you know, if you can gently and unviolently convince Miro to join you here in the underworld, as it were, and then you are more than welcome to him. Otherwise, I have concerns that I would like to raise.
She swirls her goblet and goes, Of course. But this Miro of yours is... Let's just say he's not in a state where he can consent to anything.
So, what?
It's amusing, son of Loki, that you suggested in an unviolent way
Sure.
of moving. It just so happens that there is a way. But you get one chance.
Okay.
I cannot do it. I have purview over the realm of the dead and those who pass through it. Yours
Okay.
is what's the word? A stowaway.
Sure.
But there is one who can. He lives in the other mountain, in a cave. Now, anyone who enters the cave perishes.
Well, that seems really inconvenient.
Yes, except, again, because of fear of consequences, seems that your cunning little friend here can probably walk in and out and not die. How convenient, isn't it? Son of Loki.
So you're saying Kieran would have to do this by themselves without our assistance?
He's a big boy. He's been alone most of his life. I'm sure he can... How do the living say it now? Solo it? What say you, Kieran Kearney?
Sure. Yeah. Sounds great. Let me solo it.
Good. She snaps her finger and Kieran disappears. Now please eat. This is gonna get cold, and no one else can eat any of it.
All right. I'm good. Let's see. How can I ask this without seeming impertinent? The food looks fabulous. It's just, pardon the mortalness of me, but the only precedents I have aware of mortals eating food presented by those in the underworld resolved in someone not being able to return.
I know. That asshole ruined it for all of us. I'm not part of them.
Okay.
We don't trick people here. We have something called honor and integrity.
Okay.
Let the Greeks bitter. That's not my problem. Bicker. Sorry, that's not my problem. I'm not going to trap you here, and even if I were to attempt what my equivalent did before, do you really think I would like to marry any one of you? Do you really think so highly of yourselves? None of you are my type.
Understood. And like I said, it was not wanting to be impolite or impertinent, just for...
I understand the fear, Benbar.
And with
You're
that,
still
he will
part
reach
of it.
for the nearest chicken or turkey leg, grab it, and he will start it.
And it's good-ish. The only thing
Good
that
enough?
Yeah, it's good enough. The thing is, she looks very taken by you eating. Like as you eat D, if you look at Hell, you would see that her mouth just moves a little, like she's also mimicking, like chewing.
Does she eat any at all, or does she just drink the wine?
It
I think D has an idea what's going. She just gives Finbar a look of like it's not cursed. It's just weird now.
And I will give an acknowledging look and keep on politely and silently eating.
Can the two of you give me just one roll before I switch over
Sure.
to?
It's like I can't eat this chocolate cake because I'm allergic, but I love chocolate. Eat it so I can.
Can you give me? Let's go with cunning and empathy.
Cunning and empathy. Oof.
4.
D.
4.
Because you all were also kind of looking at her and at Finbar and the weirdness of the situation.
Yeah.
The lavish chair she sits on, sometimes when her body shifts to just a skeleton, you can see that the cushion is just stained with wine. She can't eat. She can't drink.
Yeah.
So she's vicariously doing it through.
Yeah, this is that doesn't. Yeah, this.
Yeah. No, your theory was right. You just have the confirmation. Meanwhile, Kieran appears alone on a path in the forest by the... Well, in the distance, about 50-ish yards, you can see what appears to be a cavern, a cave, carved out into the mountain. If you look around you, you're basically standing past Hell's Castle, closer to that second mountain.
Okay, time to start walking.
You walk closer. The trees are getting a little sparser. You notice bones. Human bones just left scattered about. Walk a little closer. A little more bones. Scattered about. And then, the remains of weapons from various time period in the world. There's a broken spears, rusted blade. There's a dismantled AK-47. Keep closer. By the time you're about 10-ish yards from the cave, the land around you is no longer like grass, it's just bones, like a carpet of it. Not well placed, like it's not been made on purpose, it's just been littered there over and over. There's a cool breeze that comes out of the cave. Like, the beach at night. Okay, let me rephrase that. The beach in Scandinavia at night.
Okay.
There's no sound and no light coming out of the cave.
Okay.
What do you do?
Keep going forward, I guess, because she said that's just the only way.
You enter the cave. It's pitch black in there. I don't know if you have a way to see in the dark.
I mean, I have a lighter.
Well, that's one thing. You take it out and just, light it to see a bit. And just right there, right in front of you, see Fang and another one connected to, a jaw and a nose, like a muzzle, Lift
Oh,
your lighter a
great.
little bit up. It's a giant wolf's head. It wears a chained, like a chain around its neck that goes just beyond. The wolf itself is about 10 to 12 feet high. It stood completely still, but as soon as the light hits its eyes, the pupils just contract, and you hear, and it begins to growl.
I have zero of anything that has to do with animal handling, so
What do you do?
Good boy, good girl, good boy.
It gets closer and sniffs you.
Sure. Hold out the hands for it to sniff. Not close enough for it to bite.
It is going to lunge and try to bite your hand off.
Ah!
Can you give me Dex and close combat?
Close combat. Sure.
Oh no! Oh no!
You're going to need 3 successes.
Oh no! Feel
One
you
success.
could. I mean, there's 1 point of.
I don't think 1 point of momentum is going to do anything.
I mean, you could get a
You
10.
would have to roll a 10.
Yeah, I'd have to roll a 10. So no, I'm gonna go with the 1. The dice will
Alright.
tell the story.
So that just is going to,
One hand.
put your, +1 momentum. It comes in, bites your arm. It hurts like hell. And in one practiced move, it pulls you closer and then just eats you whole
Oh,
and swallows you.
I have something. Is that would kill me, right?
That would kill you.
Cool. I
Um,
have something I'd like to use for the first time since adding it as my very first
Sure.
knack. I have something called Smoke and Mirrors that says once per scene when you would be taken out, you instead spend momentum, negate the damage that would have taken you out, and move one range band away from your attacker, but leave behind a brief after image of your outline, which crumbles into dust seconds later.
Nice. Okay.
Yes.
So 1 point of momentum less, and it just
Excellent.
swallows up you are one range bend away, but it
It's a bad doggy!
doesn't state where, like if it's back or it could be, you could be one range anywhere within 360 degrees of this creature.
Mhm.
oh! You did the fake throw the tennis ball to this thing. Just like that.
Where do you want to appear?
Back, like further back where its chain hopefully can't reach.
The chain doesn't reach. It swallows fake Kieran and looks around.
Betrayal.
It sees you. By the way, that other range bend would be like outside the cave, like you're
Mhm.
by the outside of the cave, and it tries to lunge forward, but the chain pulls on its neck and it goes.
That's what you got. That was not very nice. Now, come on, can you communicate properly? Or are you actually just a dumb animal?
That's a good question. I need to check my notes. I know it's weird, but
How Fenris is this wolf?
when you ask it if it can speak, he's just going to howl in response. And that howl, by the way, Morning D and Finbar, you would all hear it. The ground trembles as you hear the owl of a mighty wolf.
I'm sure he's fine.
I'm sure he is.
Okay, just checking. Me too.
Kieran,
Yep.
Kieran is making friends again, it sounds like.
So back to Kieran. That giant wolf still stares at you. It licks its chops.
Yeah, I have zero idea what to do about this thing. He clearly he cannot be reasoned with. Let me see. Okay. Okay, I would like to. So, if I use the boon ephemera, can it leave my hands, or does it have to be like physically near my person?
Wait, what is ephemera? Ephemera?
It's an illusion birthright. Well, my key is leveled up to the point that it became the boon ephemera.
Oh yeah.
It says create an illusory image of a person, animal, or object up to the size of a car. The illusion is lifelike and seems completely authentic, but it has no physical substance. It can move, but must remain within the boon's range.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, because you've leveled it up, you don't have to keep it like in your hand. I'll say that you still need to see it. Like,
Okay.
it can move anywhere that you can see. Even if you just see like a part of it, it still works. But like if you couldn't turn around like and put the illusion behind a wall that you could not see. You just have to imbue a legend.
Sure. Okay.
And basically you will roll manipulation plus legend versus its pool. Which is the amount of successes is. You need 3 successes.
Damn.
Do you want to roll that one
My
willpower?
God.
Absolutely not. No, I'm not going to roll the one momentum die at any
Alright.
point.
What is the illusion that you create?
I was going to try to create like a big juicy T-bone steak and toss it in front of him to see if he's just hungry or if he legitimately wants to eat me, a person.
So there's a comically large Flintstone-like T-bone steak.
Yes.
That is basically just thrown into the. He looks at it, turns back to you.
Okay, cool.
And sniffs the air again. Can you make a reflexive? Let's go with cunning and occult.
Hmm.
We're gonna do
Sure.
3 successes again.
Yay.
6
Look at all those
successes.
All those
Alrighty.
Your illusion didn't work.
Mhm.
He did try to eat you, but he doesn't seem to want to eat anything that's food, or at least that's tangible. With 6 successes, you figure it feeds on souls, like
Sure.
the one that's inside you.
Yeah, that's the problem. I'm like a Russian nesting doll of souls.
You got a baby bird this soul.
Exactly.
Um,
How do I extract the soul that he wants to eat from the soul that I don't want him to eat that is mine?
Well, see, that's the cool thing with 6 successes, because you get 3, the normal, I gave you the extra clue, you still have 2 more left. You can either use one to like ask me a question, or you can also use one of your extra successes to create an entirely new fact about this clue, which is it feeds on souls.
I think I would like to ask my previously stated question. How the heck do I extract a soul for it to feed on?
You
When-
cannot,
I cannot. Okay.
but it
I can't
can.
just regurgitate it. What?
It can.
It can.
Yeah, the giant wolf in front of you.
I don't really like my chances of being eaten alive and then like metamorphosized within the belly of the wolf and spat back out. That doesn't sound fun. But I've not made it this far making wise decisions. So let's try. Let's try it. With my successes and extrapolating what I now apparently know from the ether, I'm going to move forward and allow the wolf to eat me.
Take a few steps closer. It seems to know what you want to do. It can't communicate, but you notice that it lowers its head and even bends its front legs down so that the head can be almost at your level. And as you walk closer to the entrance of the cave, it's going to just walk backwards a bit to let you basically enter the cave completely. Then it waits. It sniffs you.
This is Fenrir, right?
Nope, it's not. And you
It's
get
not.
bitten.
Oh, okay.
In fact, it burns and it stings, but that big wolf basically tearing open your chest
Sure.
should have killed you. You're going to take only 1 damage.
Oh, neat.
As it basically, like a wild animal, like what a wolf would do, start tearing pieces of you out until it finds this soft glowing orb that was the divine essence of Myro. Bites it, swallows it, takes a few steps back, walks in a circle, plops down. It takes a few minutes for your organs and everything else to come back in by itself. I would like to ask, despite it not being very hurtful, what's Kieran's reaction to all this?
Screaming.
Okay, everyone else, you hear Kieran scream.
I don't know if I would recognize Kieran's scream specifically.
Probably not, but there was the howl of a wolf and then the scream of a man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably shifting directions at this point at the bare minimum.
It comes from the closest mountain.
Oh, well, then I don't really have to shift directions. Great. I just speed up.
That's cool, because as the organs within Kieran gets back together, Kieran, you're going to be left with a very big scar basically across your chest.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to shift to morning. Oh, by the way, just 2 seconds for D and Finbar. After you hear Kieran screaming, Hell just mutters a good boy.
Yeah. At first, Finbar probably jumps up at the scream, ready to go run and save, and then he catches himself, realizing he's nothing he can do, and then he sits back down and looks back at the host.
Yes, be good guests.
Sorry. Reflex.
I'm sure your friend will be fine. Unless he lied and he isn't carrying someone else's soul in him. In which case,
In him?
oops. You should ask him questions sometimes, D.
Question, Kieran, why would we ever?
Why start now?
Flipping over to
I mean, it's not good. I mean, it's not like Kieran got off without like consequences. He's getting eaten by a wolf.
Back in the forest, morning, you take off towards the cave.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's definitely speeding up if I'm worried about someone out here. A poor soul, a poor dead soul.
Are you using your supernatural speed?
No, because then I would likely leave Kerm to well, maybe I just like princess carry Kerm. Just
You
pick
can.
this little old man up and book it. Yep, I'd mutter an apology, sweep him off his feet,
What?
start booking it.
Humans weren't meant to go this fast.
I am not going to let you die out here.
You rush through the woods. At some point, the path just ceases to exist, and you have to basically jump over roots, under branches, dodge trees. You get the feeling
Easy.
that at this point in time, anyone that's not moderately divine would probably not make it. The forest itself is trying to close in on you. But you manage nonetheless to reach the entrance of a cave littered with bones, like a carpet of bones around it. The cave is completely dark save for one thing. A haggard-looking Kieran stumbles out. His clothes have been torn. You notice a big, fresh scar on his chest. Kieran, after your organs got put together,
Yeah.
the wolf is nowhere to be found. Chain lies on the ground of this cave,
The hell?
tied to nothing.
And that's the only thing in the cave?
Yep. It's not that deep. Enough to house a giant-sized wolf, but there's nothing. And even the chain looks old and rusted.
Single purpose, single use wolf. Seems like a waste of resources, but what do I know? I suppose. Time to go. Time to leave.
Kieran?
Morning?
What?
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
an old man, by the way.
I'm yeah, just
Who's the man? Who's the old man?
oh, this is my friend Kerm.
Did you walk this whole way here carrying an old man?
Well,
How did you
I
get
ran.
here?
I didn't just walk.
You ran into Norse hell carrying an old man.
Oh no, I fell into Norse hell. That's where we are. Okay. Okay. This has been a very productive outing, Kerm. Thank you. And I'll like set him on his feet. He's probably a little shaken, stirred.
You two seem to need to catch. I can just move not too far away, but can leave you to it. You've been wounded, sir.
Who are you?
Kerm.
Term. I was I don't know. We were walking in the woods, and then she picked me up and ran. Did you see a giant wolf? There was an howl. There was a big howl.
Yeah, no, there's no giant wolf here. I think.
Huh. Kieran, can you give me manipulation and subterfuge?
Sure.
5 successes. You say there's no wolf here, but then as you say that, there's like a click in the back of your head that just goes, there is a wolf here. It's here. It's behind you, but no one can see it. You can call it. If you whistle loud enough, it will come to you. Because if you're on Legend Keeper, you can go look into the relics. And you now own the relic called Garmer.
Huh. Free wolf.
You have a pet.
Yeah.
Morning has midnight. You have Gormer.
For
It's a
all
big
intents and
responsibility.
purposes. Huh?
If you don't,
For all intents and purposes, Garmer remains hidden in its den, kind of, and can be summoned by you as a free action. Essentially, it's always behind you, more or less. There's a conduit between you and it. If you whistle, it appears crawling out from behind you.
Terrifying. That's
Yep.
great. I will keep it. I will make a note of that.
You're muted, D.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Kieran says that there's no wolf here, and yeah, there's
I
no
believe
wolf here.
Kieran
Yeah.
fully. Are the others? Are the others here?
Yeah, there was like a meat hall. You know, I got thrown out of the sky in this place. It happens, you know. It's just sort of a thing that happens to me. I've started to realize. But there was like over on the other mountain, I'm pretty sure. There's like this meat hall, and there's this lady. I think it's Hell. I think her name is actually Hell. I don't know if the place was named after her. She was named after the place. Doesn't make any difference. She's over there. Our friend's over there. We should probably head in that direction. Less wolves. Maybe bring your friend. I don't know.
I do have to. I have to bring Kerm, otherwise, the forest will devour him.
You know what? I'm not even going to question that. Bring your friend so that the woods don't eat him. We'll head over to the banquet hall on the other mountain. Do you have your horse? Because like I've done a little walking today already.
No.
But
I
okay,
could
more
carry
walking
you.
first.
Morning.
You can.
Kind of similar to Kieran when Kieran asks you. You don't know where Midnight is, but you know that if you were to call Midnight, it would come.
Oh. Wait. I do, and I'll just like whistle for midnight like I normally would.
Kind of like Gandalf and Shadowfax. It takes like a few seconds, and you hear the whinny in the distance, and then a giant
Incredible.
black unicorn makes its way up to you, and poor Kerm is just like, a monster.
Oh no, this is my steed. Come on, up you go, and I'm gonna put Kerm on top of
Yeah. He
midnight.
seems to be able to like hold himself up on a horse, but as you help him up, he's just gonna mutter like, oh, "Thank the gods I died at the right time." He seems to be completely overwhelmed with things beyond his comprehension.
I will also give Kieran a leg up.
Yeah, has Kieran been on a horse before?
Probably not.
Okay. It's
Great.
tall. It's a tall horse.
Yeah, midnight especially, I think, is. Wow, well, this turned out better than I could have expected. We can figure out everything if you're all here.
The funny thing
Kerm,
is,
this went really well.
I trust you. What will happen of the others? Are you gonna have to carry them one by one here? And what if the wolf comes back?
Well, Kieran said there is no wolf, and I trust him implicitly.
There's no wolf now, but what if it comes back?
Kieran, is the wolf gonna come back?
Not without prompting. He's
Okay. Okay, Kerm, listen. I do hear you. This is pretty stressful. But my other friends are also the children of gods.
He
And
faints.
okay. All right, we're just
Like,
gonna
you
we're just
finally
gonna
gave the coup de grace. Like it's
yeah. Great. Like everything is gonna be fine if I can rely on the power of friendship, surely.
in his life, the best thing the guy did was to find a way to roll stones around. Everything else is beyond him.
And to be fair, that is a very cool thing that Kerm did.
Oh yeah, for the time it was
Good on him.
Yeah, the guy would be like a world-renowned architect for what he did.
Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only he knew that people think that the communal housing project he was starting is now thought to be like some sort of apocalyptic calendar.
I am probably just gonna I'm like lead Midnight forward since, well, actually I wonder if Kieran's divinity also would be fine for keeping Kerm safe. But I think the way this is gonna work is that I'm just going to run next to Midnight and kind of like lead and steer from the side.
All right.
Big horse, but 3 people is a lot.
Mm-hmm. It's basically Kieran. Once you the 3 of you have gone back onto the path. At one point, you start to see that village that you stayed at the other night. In the distance, you can steer the group in the right direction, unless you wanted to bring people to a different place. But I will assume you're going back to Hell's Castle. As you start climbing up the mountain, Kerm slowly comes to his senses. And there's a booming voice that thunders over the perpetual snowstorm around. For Dee and Finbar, Hell is just talking to herself in the throne room. She's not screaming, she's not shouting. But she says, "The 2 of you may come in. The old man cannot. He stays behind."
Doesn't belong.
But if he stays out here, the forest will eat him.
Leave him in the village. It'll take longer. Just don't tarry.
I'm gonna look at Kieran like,
I mean, I don't know the semantics. Will the village eat him?
I don't know. It's
Is it
is
just that
he still passed out?
No, he came to.
Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to be able to hear the voice, though. He's just looking at the 2 of you, asking each of you, like, questions.
So we need to go fast. Okay. Kerm, I'm going to leave you with Midnight briefly. I will be right back.
Oh, okay.
The voice says that the village is safer, and I'm gonna like look at Kieran and nod for backup.
It's very boring. Yeah. Don't,
We'll take boring over death, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I will be right back. And I think what's so like probably noticeable to Kerm, but also just more confusing, is that pretty much all of the vibrato and like shoulders back, chin up, speaking formally that Morning was doing back at the Longhouse is like, kind of out the window, and she's just like a little bit more casual, relaxed, modern, even, I would say. Like, it just has more, like...
Yeah, you're definitely
ease
not
of speech.
acting like he thinks a god would.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And Midnight can climb back down the mountain with no issue whatsoever,
Great.
given its powers. And we'll just fast track to the two of you, Kieran and Morning, entering the banquet hall, where Hel sits on her lavish chair, and Dee and Finbar. I don't know for Dee, but I know that Finbar started nibbling on food already.
Yeah, I think D just ate. Yeah,
D too?
Just
Alright.
try not to look. Don't look in Hell's direction. That's where it looks weird.
The prodigal son returns.
Oh.
And you brought a friend.
Hey,
Look
hey,
what I found!
hey, morning.
Morning. And as soon as Finbar sees Morning, he gets out of his chair and goes up and embraces her.
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah,
like
okay, good, because
like,
Morning was gonna
yeah,
hug
what was it?
somebody.
D will too.
Yay! Okay, I'm so good. She's just so happy. This is so good.
Hel just rolls her eyes. Let me guess, you're also not supposed to be here. And you want to go home.
Yes, but first I'd kind of like to figure out what's going on with the underworlds and how we can fix them.
Please sit, be a guest. The food is not poisoned, I promise.
Great.
Yeah, Hell just likes to watch.
She gives you a look at that
Meaning look, yeah.
of like, shut up.
Yeah.
I think he gives a look like it's not obvious.
Sit and eat. The underworld seemed to be collapsing.
She doesn't answer right away. Turns to Kieran first and says, how many more of your friends are going to spring up from the ground in exchange for that one soul?
Hopefully none. I mean, she was a surprise.
Do you have any other friends?
Oh damn!
Hel chuckles.
Morning, like no offense, like it's not sarcastic at all.
A solitary.
I think D will kind of semi choke on the food that she ate.
Yeah. I imagine Finbar's taking a sip of wine. He's doing everything he can not to take a spit take.
Nothing. Stone faced here. Like,
Before I answer you, daughter of the Morgan, there's like a twinge of rivalry in her voice, by the way, when she calls out your mother. Boy, come here. And there is materializing behind Kieran at the haunches 12 feet tall wolf with a bluish gray fur, except for like a part of its face where it's completely frozen, with the fur just being spikes of ice, kind of symbolically akin to, showing its skull in a way. And Garmer walks forward. It's next to Hel. She extends her hand and he just spits out a glowing orb like the size of a grapefruit. She goes, good boy. She scratches his chin. Take good care of it. And she's gonna dip Miro's soul in her goblet and just take a bite out of it. Like it's a big, like, round cake. As she does so, there's a distant, like a moan of anguish. Now, she takes another bite. To answer your previous question, Morning, I will tell you the same thing I told your other friend here. She looks at Dee. You want to know why the underworlds are going to hell, but not me? You should ask your friend Kieran.
Kieran?
What did I do?
Why are the underworlds going to hell, Kieran?
I have no idea. I haven't.
Did you just
I
said to
haven't
ask
the foggiest-
you?
Yeah.
I know. She gives me too much credit for knowing things. What is this secret information that I know, Simon?
I didn't give you anything.
Exactly.
Just because Hell is a goddess doesn't mean she's omniscient.
No, but she has blamed the wrong person to know things.
Is this
No, you get
Is
the
this
feeling that she
something to
didn't blame
do-
the wrong person. She might have blamed someone that's a few degrees from the right person.
something to do with our father Loki?
If it's to do with him, then it's nothing to do with me. I can't control a damn thing that man does. Is that it?
Do you really not think that your father doesn't control all of your actions?
I try to avoid thinking in general if I can help it.
That's true.
What makes you say that this isn't what he wants you to do?
I mean, every time that we've ever talked, we have clashed stupendously. So I have to assume that everything that I do is not what he would want or even approve of.
He's one of the most cunning god among the Aesir, and yet he births some dumbass children.
Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
If I may be so bold yet ignorant at the same time, how could destroying the underworld benefit Loki other than just creating chaos?
Good question.
I do not know enough, but I know this. It's his fault. But it doesn't mean that it's what he wants.
Fair enough.
I can't pinpoint anything more. My Helheim holds because I am me. Other places, and she looks at Morning, at D, and at you, Finbar. Other places might not.
Are your people at risk? In danger? Or protected as long as you're here?
Oh, me? As long as I am alive, I can hold Helheim together. I cannot hold the souls of those who do not belong to me. Your little friend, the Builder, his group of rebels, they think they're at war with me. They're not. They're just excess baggage that I have to get rid of.
I would like you to not get rid of them, but I would like to return them home. I would like to take them off your hands.
Oh, I would appreciate you taking them off my hands. They don't have a home to go back to, but if they can leave with you, that's all the better. I don't get anything from their souls anyway. They don't stand to gain anything from staying here aside from slowly being dissolved into oblivion. You mentioned wanting to go home, godlings. I can make you leave my realm and bring you back to Earth. then you're condemning all of the dead throughout all of history with slow and painful annihilation. Unless other places of guardians such as I able to hold them together. But clearly, whatever it is that Kieran's dad decided to do, it's messing up life for all of us. I at least thought he would have let you in on things. I was almost looking forward to you coming back from Garmer's lair. You truly know nothing.
Not a thing.
You might be smarter than I gave you credit for. We'll see. So, godlings. And we're gonna end the session today with that question. She leans forward and says, "Where do you want me to send you to?" And that's the end of our session.
Ah!
Yeah! A brief
I just got
stint
back
in-
and I have another huge moral question to face. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, no, more the things are...
Welcome to Godhood.
I had it in my notes, depending on when you came back, Renee, if the group had left Elheim, things would have been worse. You would have been thrown into kind of a shit show and would have had to deal with the
Oh, no.
whatever aftermath of what the other three would have done.
You don't trust us?
I have complete faith in your abilities to fuck up everywhere you go. Need I remind
And
you,
I'm glad
there is
you're
an
still
entire
here.
apartment complex in the River Styx now.
Yeah.
Need I remind you
golly.
that you met Ulfur Stevenson for a second time and fucked up his plans again?
He started it.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like
He was doing bad.
I'm on my
shit.
friend's side with that.
Yeah, he wasn't doing good stuff.
Exactly.
I can't speak to the apartment complex thing though.
I don't know. That probably was mixed bag.
Yeah.
As they
We
say,
didn't intend on sending the. We intended
collateral damage.
not the apartment
Yeah,
complex.
yeah.
No pun intended, but collateral damage.
We did not intend the apartment complex.
Yep. Oh well, there's a hole in the city of Nexus now. All that to say, hey, thank you everyone for playing today. Thank you for being here. Welcome back, Renee.
Yay!
Hope you're okay. I know that we went over a bit, but yeah,
Doing great.
cool. So, well, that's that for now. We're gonna be back next week, but before we leave and we do all the spiel and everything, I'm gonna hand the mic over to the cast to tell us who you are, where we can find you, if you have anything going on. We'll do same order as we did the intros, and we'll start with morning.
Hi, my name is Renee Rhodes. I use she, her pronouns, so does morning, and I am so glad to be back. Truly just made my weekend to be here playing with everyone. I am around on social media at Ray Deanne most places, including Twitter, which is still where I am at the most, much to my chagrin. But I don't have any other games going on right now. I do, however, have art that you can buy on my Ko-fi, which is available on my Twitter as well. And I am launching an Etsy shop soon to sell pride paintings and nerdy stuff. Also paintings, if you're interested.
Ooh, thank you for being here. I'm gonna link your Ko-fi in
Oh, thank
in
you.
chat. Sorry, I thought I would be faster, but I'm not. But there you go.
Yay.
Next, Kieran.
Karen, that's me, Hannah. Hanimation Art on Twitter, Hanimation Studios everywhere else. And you can find my online shop at hanimation.shop, which is actually one of the sponsors for Wandering DM's channel. If you want to put in the code Wandering DM, you get 10% off your purchase on hanimation.shop. Lots of fun, exciting fandom accessories there if you want to carry your nerdy around with you wherever you go. As for games, I am only on this game for the time being. Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern on Wandering DM, Scion Birth of the New Gods. Having a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what chaos we make next week for wherever we end up going. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm sure it will. Thanks for being here. D, you're next.
Hey everyone, I'm Lynn. Gremlin art pretty much everywhere on the socials. You can find my art there. And next time you'll see me is on Thursdays on Classical Classes channel for from the library, a Monster Care Squad game on Thursdays. Thanks.
All right, well, thanks for coming. And last but not least, Finbar.
All right, I'm Hawkeye, or Kentucky Hawkeye. The next places you can catch me is on my channel tonight at 8 p.m. will be Grappler's Keep, my WWE 2K23 universe where a number of characters from all of your favorite tabletop RPG genres compete in a ring that we lovingly call the Dice Tray. We're working our way towards our next premium live event, the Joust, our version of Survivor Series. We're changed the format a little bit. We're dividing the show into two pieces, the Queen's Courtyard and the Round Table, where we'll have 6 matches for the guys, then a short intermission, or 6 matches with the ladies, short intermission, then 6 matches with the guys to try to get more exposure to the different characters and such. That way we can have more rivalries and people can get to know more, see more and more of the different characters and not have as much competition for airtime. And that'll be, again, Saturday nights 8 p.m. on my channel. Monday nights at 1 p.m. My daughter and I have Family Night at the Emporium. We are no longer doing the Adventures of Mouse Droid as we've completed that. We started a series with a new game called Whispers in the West. It's a mystery solving game. We've been having some fun with that so far, and we'll be working on our next mystery this coming Monday night. And then Wednesday nights, you can either catch me on my channel or on Encounter Online. If I'm on Encounter Online, we're doing a 4-player multiplayer version of Baldur's Gate 3, where I'm playing Keen Dova, a stealth archer that I'm building. You can guess where I got the name for my stealth archer just from that. And if it's on my channel, then I'm doing the continuing story of The Legend of Ben Damus Dane, as we're working our way trying to get into the city proper and all that, and try to see what happens with the rest of the game here. And then otherwise, you can catch me here on Saturdays. And since everyone else is plugging their shops, I'll plug mine as well. I have an Etsy shop, Diet Water Productions, where you can order your own custom DMGM screen. I've got some basic models. I have the 4-panel folding model. I have the 3-panel folding model, and the 3-panel comes with the option of being a regular GM screen, or you can have a built-in computer monitor so the players can see images that you put up, or you can get the version that I just created where you can insert your own tablet, put it in there, be able to put it in, take it out, and then have that so you can have text or be able to play music or do whatever stuff for the DM to see as well. So we have all those models available on the screen on the store. So peruse around. Everyone is custom made, so everyone who gets one gets a unique Diet Water production.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, all of my players, for being here. Thank you to all of you in chat for the follows, for the subs, for just being here every weekend while we play this absolutely awesome game of Divinity. I am Simon. You can find me again right here on Monday for the first episode of the last season of Vampire the Masquerade Montreal by Night. We are in the last stretch of 6 episodes before we move on to my next campaign. I can tell right now that I've playtested something that will be used for to kick off that campaign. I've playtested it last night, and it was a blast, and it's going to be very interesting. And then there's a bunch of other projects coming up that I cannot talk about, but I can't wait to show all of you. On that note, thanks for coming. Have a good weekend, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.